Hi everybody. I have a really delicious wine to talk about. Jeez, hadn't even thought of this. It's another Sicilian wine. Jeez, so many Sicilian wines that, for whatever reason, are the things that I decided to talk about on here. I'm actually going to rinse this because I had Matteo Furlani Vermouth in this glass before, and as lovely, beautifully aromatic as this Cerasuolo di Vittoria is, vermouth would be a hard thing for it to compete with. So anyway, so this is Sicilian. This is COS, Cerasuolo di Vittoria. So this is, oh boy, do I remember their names? Well, first, obviously, Giusto Occhipinti. Cirano Cirillo, and then Giambattista something with a C. Oh wait, Giambattista Cilia, Giusto Occhipinti, and then Cirillo Strano, who is no longer involved in the operation, who got bought out. So COS, 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 it's the first letters of the last names of these three friends who, fresh out of high school, started making wine together because they were passionate about wine. And being from Vittoria here, so this is from by the city of Vittoria, as you would be led to believe from the name Cerasuolo di Vittoria. Vittoria had a long tradition of winemaking. Not a ton of, like, I don't know, famous high-level winemaking back in the 60s, 70s, as far as I know. But anyway, so they got out of high school, decided to start making wine on a very small scale. I believe this vineyard was in somebody's family, I believe, I thought I had read. From the outset, they farmed organically. They wanted to make a wine that expressed the soil, the terroir, the environment, the climate there and stuff. So they, from the outset, didn't use any synthetic fertilizers or pesticides or anything like that. They were basically organic, before organics really were an established mainstream thing. But they adopted, so then they got certified organic, and they were a very early adopter of biodynamic farming and principles as well. Also along those lines, they want the wine to taste like the wine. So fermentation all happens in cement, slowly, native yeast, fair amount of skin contact even with the whites, and then all the aging happens in like neutral oak vessels or clay amphora. They only use stainless steel tanks for assembling the wine before it's bottled. So, like say you have 10 barrels of something, you don't want to like bottle barrel by barrel, because then you're going to effectively have 10 different wines. Ideally, you sort of put it all together in one big tank, and then you bottle from that tank, so you have one uniform wine there. So anyway, so that they use stainless steel for that. Southeastern Sicily is it's just a beautiful, intense place. Sort of rolling hills here. They're not that far from the ocean. I want to say, if I remember correctly, I visited here back in 2016, February 2016, ran across Sicily, and it was sort of, there was a big ridge that I ran over, but then it was sort of like low hills, rolling hills, almost sort of flat, because where they are, they're, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles from the ocean, something like that. You can see it from up on the ridges. It's right there. You can sort of smell it. You can feel it in the air. The soil here is like a couple, I don't know, a meter or so of like sandy, red, light clay sort of soil. And then underneath that, limestone, broken up limestone, like subsoil here. It was underneath the ocean 30 million years ago, something like that. So like ancient seabed sort of subsoil. This is 60% Nero d'Avola, 40% Frappato. I also, even though it was February, I just remember the sun. I remember like how intensely sunny it was, how clear the sun was, how like pervasive, and just like even in February, everything just smelled so alive. Fermentation of this happens in big cement tanks, down in the winery. They play classical music and stuff to the wine as it's fermenting, and then it ages in Slovenian oak, used Slovenian oak barrels. I want to say it was for 18 months before bottling, and then like another year of aging in the bottles before release. Smells gorgeous. Nero d'Avola and Frappato is a great combination. It's like ripe cherries, ripe like red cherries, not like black cherry, like red cherries, not overripe, just very expressive aroma. Raspberries, blackberry, little bit of like cigar, like not cigar smoke, just like the smell of like dried tobacco. It smells bright and fresh, but sort of like ripe and lush and juicy as well. It is a really pretty aroma. Man. Frappato is this lighter, higher toned, like singing, fresh aromatic fruit sort of red grape, and then Nero d'Avola is darker, has more base, more sort of savory, smoky, denser, tarrier fruit, and the two of them together really complement each other, I think. It's very pretty, medium bodied, really nice structure, fresh fruit, really good acidity. There's good acidity that hits you right up front and makes it like expressive, juicy, fresh raspberry sort of fruit to it. But it's so well structured. A little bit of sort of like minerally salt, and then tannins that aren't aggressive but are sort of long and draw the finish out and give you a little bit of like a woodsy, brambly sort of component. It's really pretty. And okay, so Cerasuolo di Vittoria was created as a DOC in, I believe, 1975. So 5 years before Giusto and Giambattista started making wine here. But then in they started in 1980. 2005, Cerasuolo di Vittoria was elevated to DOCG status and has this fancy little neck label there. And I think a big reason that Cerasuolo di Vittoria was elevated to being a DOCG was Giusto Occhipinti and Giambattista Ciglia, because they had been making brilliant wines that people recognized as being brilliant and beautiful for decades at that point. Also, what I really love about, I mean, it's just something I love and respect about them, that they did this on their own terms, in their own way, in a place that's very difficult to do things. I mean, I remember those wild dogs, I rondaggi, running around Sicily, and you know, just the infrastructure isn't super great. It's a hard place to start a business like this. But also, you know, Sicily, in general, you sort of think of big, ripe, sunny wines. This is ripe and sunny, but it's elegant and balanced and complex and layered and thoughtfully knit together. This is, it's not just a big, powerful wine. This is a very impressive wine that makes an impression on you, but it makes an impression with its complexity and its elegance and its beauty. And I love that. It's 13% alcohol. I'm super excited to have this in my portfolio, and I've got all kinds of other, I've got Frappato and Pithos Rosso, which is essentially Cerasuolo di Vittoria, but aged in clay tinaja in amphora, and I'm just excited to have all these wines from COS. So there we go. Here's your, what's today? Wednesday afternoon, evening wine video.